Welcome to our class. I'm Sheri.
I'm Rene.
Gotta tell you that we just have a real passion for preparedness anything, and we will share some things that we have learned through the years. And as time will be allowed, you will be able to ask questions at the end. In the time that I have, I hope that I can give you the information that I think that will excite you and encourage you to do something now, today, that will make a difference for you and your family. You will leave this Zoom knowing at least one thing today to be more prepared when things become urgent. Like when the time a car hit the power pole in our area and we lost our power for 8 hours. Luckily, we had just finished dinner. Most of us know how important home and food storage is in preparation for the unexpected. The more you can be prepared, the better, and it's calmer for everyone. Since we have a limited time, I've chosen some things that I feel that you should do soon to have it prepared. I'm going to start with the home. Take my notes here. Have you noticed that the first Wednesday of every month at 11 o'clock, have you heard a siren? This siren will sound for 3 minutes. If it doesn't stop, then you are to go shelter in place. And Rene will cover that in more detail. Also, do you know where your shutoff valves are for your gas and your water? If you, or how to do it and when to do it. If you smell gas, you should shut off your gas meter, and so be sure to keep a wrench somewhere handy that is designated for that. Once you shut it off, only PG&E can turn it back on, so remember that. It could be a couple days, it could be weeks, you don't know. It depends on the disaster. I just wanted to share, one night I woke up to nature call, and I had heard water in the walls in the bathroom, and there was no water coming out, and I jiggled the handle on the toilet, and that didn't stop it, so I ran around to the family room, pulled my couch out, no water behind there, so I went back in, still sounded like water was rushing through the walls, so I turned off the valve there at the toilet, and then I went outside and turned off the water valve to the house. Luckily, we had water, so we had a few days to use our storage while we figured out what the problem was. Also, I want you to be aware that you need to keep important documents, your certificates, and things you can look up online. And we have other references where you know what to keep, your thumb drives. But think about it. If you have a fireproof safe or a briefcase or those fireproof document bags, keep them in one place and decide what are you going to do in emergency if you had to evacuate your house within minutes. So that's something that you need to know. And I had a friend a few years ago that showed me her important papers, and she it was in a clear zippered bag that looked like something that a bedspread or quilt would come in. And I thought, that's a good idea. Everything's in one place. That's a start. That's what I want you to do today. Begin something that makes a difference. Gather everything into one place so you don't have to worry. You're going to need that to identify who you are. Then, water storage. Water is very important. We can go without food for a while, but water is necessary and vital. 1 gallon per person per day is the recommendation, and I challenge you today to get a 3-day supply of water for your family. Do it as quickly as you can, and then follow up to make it a week. And then eventually your goal is to have at least a month of water. Now you need to remember that it needs to be rotated, usually about every 6 months. But don't throw it out. You can always boil it. You need to keep it in a cool place, and you could think about using cardboard boxes for insulation. Let's see. Oh, water is heavy, I know, and it's hard to just pick up and carry with you, but it's about 8+ pounds a a gallon. So just take that into consideration. Every home probably has a first aid kit. When was the last time you checked yours out? Please go online and see what other people have suggested that you should have in your first aid kit. Make a list of what you want, add to it, tailor it to the needs of your family so it fits what you have. I usually replenish it with things from the dollar store or the 99-cent store. They have some pretty good deals. And also, how about your basic first aid? Study on that. Do you remember what the signs are for heat exhaustion or heat stroke in your family or your pets? How to clean a wound and how to bandage? Several years ago, my niece and her husband attended an emergency preparedness fair. After they had finished their classes, her husband noticed that there was a wilderness survival class, so they checked it out. On returning home, one of their sons had just cut his leg to the bone while chopping wood. It was a 4-inch gash. Quickly wrapping the leg in a towel, she headed for the hospital. The closer she got, the worse she felt. Finally, before reaching the hospital, she took an exit and decided to go back home. As she did, she began to feel much better. Her husband was surprised to see that they were back so soon. They decided that they would apply what they had learned that day. She cleaned the wound and put some melaleuca gel in the wound, and he held the leg close together while she bandaged up, alternating the sides of the bandage, and then putting super glue down the middle. He healed beautifully, and days later she found out that there was a terrible outbreak of staph at the hospital that day. And yes, they do use super glue in the hospital. Have you thought about earthquake proofing your home? What about your bookshelves? Are they attached to the wall or grandfather clocks, pictures, mirrors, knickknacks secured down with a earthquake putty, vases, whatever can become a projectile? Even thought about doing your cupboards so your dishes don't fall out and have a latch that will hold them in place. Also, another thing is to talk to your children about earthquakes. Try to describe to them what to expect. Go through different areas in your house and say, if we were in this room, there was an earthquake, where's the safest place to be? They usually recommend trying to find a sturdy table that you go under and hold on to. I was about 9 years old when I had my first earthquake experience. I had just finished dinner. I was taking the dish to the sink, and by the time I got in front of the refrigerator, the earth started shaking in a way I'd never felt before. I froze. I was like a deer in the headlights. My dad was concerned because the refrigerator was rocking back and forth, and he was hoping I wouldn't get squished by it. But make sure you talk to your children about that, and also have a bug-out bag. Rene will talk about this more, but have that ready. So there's the documents and the bug-out bag that you need to have ready and know where they are so you aren't wasting time when you have to get out of the house in an evacuation situation. Replenish it every 6 months. When our children were growing up, we did it in April and in October during General Conference, and they loved eating the snacks. And then we would replace the goodies, and that was a good time to check on the clothing size. You should have a fire extinguisher in your home. My 7-year-old grandson said to me the other day that he knew how to use a fire extinguisher. I asked him, how do you? And he told me, first you pull the pin, you aim, then you squeeze, and then you go sweep side to side. I was impressed. I looked up the acronym. It's called PASS, P-A-S-S. Pull the pin, aim stream toward the base of the fire, squeeze the lever slowly and evenly, and sweep side to side. 72-hour kit. This is something else. This is a portable food kit that you need to have. The picture up here is of Patriot Pantry, which is the number 4 Patriots. I buy things from them occasionally, and they have a great selection. This will last 25 years. It usually takes about 4 cups of water for the items in there. And they have the best guarantee. It's free shipping and 365 days return. So if you're unhappy, anytime in that 365 days, you can return it and get your money back. But look into it. It's very good. I usually keep one in the car. When my children were young, I had an asthmatic. And when I moved out here, it was 30 minutes from my door to my mom's door. And it's nice to have the water, the graham crackers, the saltine crackers, beef jerky. They thought it was a treat. And then something to keep in mind is during the Loma Prieta earthquake in San Francisco, people were trapped in their cars. Well, they had to stay in their cars. They couldn't go home. Some of them for 17 hours. So that might be something you want to think every time you get into your car, as far as maybe getting stuck in traffic 3 or 4 hours. If you have children in the car, that's probably more of a must. Rene will talk more about that. And then I think every home should have a garden, and I'm going to cover that in more detail in food preparedness, food storage. Okay, food storage, there are 5 items that will keep you alive: water, wheat, powdered milk, sugar, honey, and salt. Then you can add your rice, your beans, your canned foods that you know that your family like and will want to eat. Don't forget to think about yeast and baking powder and baking soda, the flour that you will use. Also a grinder, hand grinder, so you can grind the wheat and grind the brown rice for the flour. I want to mention here too that honey, raw honey, should never be given to a child under 12 months, raw or cooked. So the next time you think about Honey Nut Cheerios or honey graham crackers, children under 12 months should not have it because it can cause infant botulism. Then you have these supplies, use them. Practice working with it. Make it a fun activity for the family. Let's go cook with this stuff and see how we do it. It was mentioned to me that the Amish, to look into them, they're self-reliant and off the grid, and they have good recipes. And I was looking some up the other day, and I thought, I'm going to have to try those. Those are great. The next thing is alternative cooking. In an emergency, you don't usually have your electricity or gas. So you need briquettes, and you need propane and white gas. And I do Dutch oven cooking. Learn how to gauge it so you know how many charcoals on the bottom, how many on the top. Make it a fun activity some Saturday, and just tell your kids you're going to be like pioneers and prepare your meal all in Dutch ovens. And you can cook bread in a Dutch oven. You can cook rolls. We had a family that would come every year and do the Dutch oven rolls at our preparedness fairs, and they were delicious. You have your gas grills. You have your charcoal barbecue. You have I love these Cub Scout buddy burners and tin can stoves. And to make trench candles, which are called fire starters, that are good to have, and put them in your car in a Ziploc bag because they have wax on them. In case hot days, you don't want them getting all over your car. And don't forget the supplies for your alternative cooking, your charcoal, your propane, your charcoal lighter, and matches. Okay, the part I really like is the gardening. And we have a picture of, this is my temporary garden that I put up. And wood was too expensive this year, so this was my alternative. And also, I've come to rely on 2 books. I didn't get the picture of the other one up. It's Lasagna Gardening, and this is by Patricia Lanza, and she advertised it as no digging, no tilling, no weeding, and no kidding. And she's right. She uses like 2 to 3 inches of newspaper soaked. That's your foundation. Then you layer it with the different materials that she has you do. When your garden is through for the season, you are building up good organic soil. Then you can add to it for the next season. You only have to use the newspaper on the first one. But the thing I like about it is you can do this on concrete. You can build this garden on concrete. The other one is square foot gardening. Whoops, let's see. Am I getting it up there? Square Foot Gardening by Mel Bartholomew. I love this. You do a 4x4 square foot, which you have 16 squares in it. This one isn't quite like that. I was going to move it over, but we had to get things in a hurry. This year, to surprise my son-in-law, because he didn't get a chance to get work in his garden in, I went over and put in a square foot gardening so he could have that benefit and see if he liked it. I like it because the maintenance is low. For a square foot, you will work maybe less than an hour a week on it, and that will provide you with the necessary weeding, watering, cultivating, pest control, and replacing your garden. Each square, it gives you the opportunity to put something different in, so you're rotating it, which is good for the ground and your soil. And the plants growing together support each other and make it so you don't have to use a lot of water once they're grown big enough. I just wanted to let you know what I put in my son-in-law's garden. 2 cherry tomatoes, 2 cucumbers, 4 bush beans, 16 carrots, 1 okra plant, 1 pepper plant, 4 Swiss chard, 9 radishes, 1 spinach, 1 Roma tomato, 9 beets, 12 onions, and 1 pea plant, and I can't remember what the other square was. But you need to have some kind of greens. If the stores aren't available, you need to have a way to grow something. Say you're in an apartment and you say, I don't have room for a garden. Yes, you do. You can even do a herb garden in a recycled bag. You can look it up on YouTube. I think it's Callie Kim 29. Just look up herb garden in a recycled bag, and she'll walk you right through it. It's amazing. And then you can have a gallon. One year this fellow introduced me to a gallon Ziploc bag garden. They're good for a year. You can grow just about anything in it except corn and tomatoes. Tomatoes usually need longer root system. But he had it on a wooden table with boards in V shape, and it holds them in place. And you had little holes in the bottom that it will drain, and as you water them, he had it tilted so it would drain off into the end, into the bucket where he could recycle the water again. Also, talking about that, it's good to remember to put a bucket in your shower or tub, and when you're waiting for the water to warm up, fill that up. You can use it to flush your toilets. You can use it in your garden for watering your food. Another thing is a mixing tray. At Home Depot or Lowe's, these big mixing trays, they're black, they're plastic. I cut some holes in them for drainage. They're about 24 by 16 by 6 inches deep. So when I wanted my grandson to start gardening, that's what we did. We put some good soil in it. We planted some bush beans and radishes and lettuce and some other things. And it was fun for children to learn to start with. That's something you can do on a patio if you're in an apartment. So everyone can have the opportunity, have something, and it's important that you do. And I just wanted to say that on the lasagna gardening, my brother-in-law, I told him about that, and he was very interested and tickled about it. He says, I'm going to put it to the test. So he did a garden, a regular garden in a row, and then he did another garden with lasagna gardening. And he told me that his lasagna garden sprouted faster and looked much healthier, and the plants were just bigger than the regular garden. So these are some things that you can do today to start and decide what you want to do to help your family be better. And I hope that this has given you some good suggestions. And we have some extra time, so I'm going to turn it over to my partner, Renee.
Hey, just a reminder, go into chat, download the link so we can email you what we have accumulated in the last the 4 years that we did it. To start out, I'm going to tell you a quick story. In the 70s, I was working at Lucky's grocery store, and every night they stocked the shelves. Well, there was a trucker strike, and I can remember coming in, and everything was bare, literally bare. The only thing on the shelves were things that they hadn't sold yet. And I remember telling myself, there is no way my family is ever going to go hungry. So that's what started me on doing food storage. Now, my food storage, I don't want all the eggs in one basket. I distribute it among 3 areas. Canned goods that require no water. I have dehydrated, which does require quite a bit of water. And then I have MREs that require absolutely no water at all. And my canned goods, next, please. My canned goods, you definitely got to make sure that you have can openers, and make sure you got a couple, because if one doesn't work, you're in trouble. And when you buy these, please, with a marking pen, put on the outside the expiration date, so you can rotate these in a smart way. Another thing, I used to have top ramen. And let's say you're a little low on water. If you have your canned vegetables, you can use the water from your canned vegetables to heat up to do top ramen. This is something that I had no money when I started doing this. And the first thing that I did is I said, okay, let's get 3 days worth of food, a week's worth of food. And then I progressed and went like that. And if you don't recycle, not recycle, but if you don't rotate this, you're going to waste a lot of money. And I've lost a lot of money due to my not recycling or restocking. The next is dehydrated and freeze-dried. The reason I really like this is because the shelf life it can be 25 to 30 years. And it's something that I can sock away, and I don't have to think about it. I don't have to worry about it. I just got to make sure that I have water that's purified so I can cook this. Now, not only do you have basics like milk and flour and carrots and whatever, you can actually buy full-on meals, beef stroganoff, chicken dumplings, stuff like this too, because, when you're in a time of, if you haven't practiced making this stuff from dehydrated, it's going to be a little difficult. So it would be a good idea to, like Sheri said, to start making some meals out of these so you know what you're doing. Up on top, I actually bought seeds that are in a freeze-dried can. So whenever I need it, I will have seeds in order to do a garden. My third area is MREs, and MREs are meals ready to eat. And this is what your military eats in their duty, in the service. This is what they get fed. Also, this is what the government will fly in to feed people when there is a disaster. And I can remember I was doing a class, and I was really talking about MREs to my company. And when we were trying to go order MREs, they were nowhere to be found because Katrina had happened and the government bought everything up. And for months and months and months, there were no MREs because the government was using them. So definitely you want to rotate. The shelf life here is really quite long. If you keep it in a cool environment, not heated, this could last 12 to 15 years, I believe. You got to double check, but I know that the time is long. And I had a bunch, and so I didn't have any dates or anything on these, so I opened one up. And if you look on the container, they've got some crazy numbers. And if you call a place where you bought these from, they can give you an expiration date on your MREs. Okay, now we're going to talk about shelter in place. Sheri talked about, These are dehydrated food in a bucket. They're amazing. You've got all different kinds of meals in here. And I like to keep that with my 72-hour kits that I can just grab and go. Boom, it's done. And I bought these, and also the Mountain House is a really famous brand that you can get these. But you can also go to Winco, and they will have buckets of dehydrated. It won't be so much like the beef stroganoff and stuff like that, but they'll have different varieties of soup, and it's really good to maintain an emergency situation. But you can get it at Winco, and the prices are pretty comparable there. Okay, now shelter in place. Sheri talked about when the alarm goes off, you're going to enter your house with your pets. You're going to close and lock all your doors and windows because that helps seal it even better. Turn your air off, turn your air conditioning off. Go to your fireplace and close your vent. Then you're going to go to a designated room that you have decided that you've decided that's going to be your designated room, and it should be your master bedroom because you've got a bathroom there. And that's where you're going to start taping up your doors, your windows, your vents with this plastic. Next, please. In my closet, I have this box, and I have the box on top, and I have a case of water in there. I used to put a gallon water in there, but not pay attention to it. And through time, they do collapse and disintegrate, and you will have water all over your closet. But then, and he's trying to get it to where it's not so foggy, or not foggy, whatever. But the top box, here it is. You've got all your pre-cut plastic and please label them. Boom, boom, boom. You put it up. You got scissors, you got tape. It's all laid out for you. What I do is I will go to Walmart and go to the painting department and get their plastic that they lay down when they're painting. That works really good. It folds up really nice. And make sure you get good tape. A lot of tapes aren't going to hold that plastic up. Make sure you got good tape. Okay, next page, please. This is how you tape up your room. And again, we will send you, for some reason, it's a little fuzzy, but we can send all this to you. It shows you how to tape everything up. Be sure you can listen to the radio so you know, are you in there for 3 hours? Are you in there for 3 days? You're going to have to listen to your TV and radio to find out. But let's say you're in there for 3 days. The next video shows what's in my 72-hour kit in my bedroom. Those are MREs. You have meals, you have side dishes. It actually has water in this kit, toilet paper. It's got cheese and crackers, peanut butter and jelly, just enough to maintain you for the amount of time you're going to be in there. And you can decide what you want to, if you want one more, whatever. But that's what I keep in my closet. Now, also, a lot of people would keep their 72-hour kits in the closet, and that's great if you're home. My 72-hour kit is in my car because wherever I am, my 72-hour kit's there, and I don't have to worry about what's in my closet in case of a shelter-in-place. Because I've actually been in a shelter-in-place at my work. We're by the Shell refinery. And let's say I can't make it home and there's a shelter in place. At least I've got the stuff in the closet for my family to do it without me. Next is 72-hour kit. And tell you a quick story. I'm 22. I'm living in Colorado, mother of 2 little ones. There's a doorbell on Saturday morning, and it's a Relief Society president. And she says, a disaster has happened. You have 5 minutes to get what you think you need to maintain your family for 3 days. And go. And so I grabbed a garbage bag. I'm running through the house. I'm grabbing canned goods, can opener, toilet paper, flashlight, batteries. And that 5 minutes goes so fast, guys. And then out the door we went. And they had pre-planned this so the husband stay home with the kids. And then it dawned on me, my husband kept saying all morning, don't you think you should get dressed? And I'm thinking, oh, why? But we went to this house. We all sat up and had a wonderful breakfast. Then we all got in a circle and everybody dumped what they had in their sacks in front of them. This is what shocked me. there's a lot of women that didn't have anything. They were spending their time getting dressed. One woman actually spent her time getting dressed, putting on makeup, and doing her hair. There's other women that in their sack had electric curlers, their makeup bags. It blew me away that in time of emergency, this was what was important to them. And it turns out that my bag, I had the most of anybody, and it didn't even come close to taking care of my family. And everybody kept saying, how come you thought of that? And that just floored me. So this is what prompted me to get 72-hour kits for my family immediately. And we had a good friend that their daughter was getting married. So her wedding gift to her was I bought them one first day 72-hour kit for a wedding gift. And my husband at the time thought that was pretty dumb. But at the shower, I turned out to be the star of the show because everybody thought that was the best wedding gift to give to somebody. So I have the next picture shows a list of what I have in my backpack. Now, I have done starter kits from scratch. I have bought backpacks already started. I strongly recommend that you buy a 72-hour kit pre-made and then add to it on what you want inside. Because a backpack alone, ends up costing you. But I do find it's cost effective to start with a kit and add to it. And then for your children, you can start a kit for these kids. They don't need all the items that I have on this list. If you see, I've got this list on the computer, so I can send this to you. And up at the top, there's a spot for every member of your family. And this is a checklist to go down and see what you want to put in this backpack, what you don't. A lot of these things kids don't need. So I would block out that square that it's not needed. If I needed to get something, that would be a certain color. So that would flag me when I go to the store. Oh, I need this for Matthew's backpack. I need this for Jesse's. It just let me know what I needed to get. Some of these things are shared with my husband, like a shovel. You need a shovel, really. I mean, you're going to be digging a hole to go to the bathroom if you're out in the wilderness. I don't need 2 shovels. I only needed one axe. So there's things that you can share. Now, up at the top are a lot of items that originally I would buy, like Sheri was talking about. You get your jerky, you get your crackers and cheese, you get your cans of tuna, you get all this stuff. Well, Sheri was smarter than me because they'd rotate at conference time and I'd forget. And so mine didn't get rotated and a lot of money was wasted with me because it adds up because I did it not just for my family, but I did it for all my kids and all my grandkids. I made sure everybody had a backpack. That adds up when you're starting adding that things. And sometimes where my backpack was, the rodents found my goodies in there. And Sheri's kids help rotate hers. Rodents help me to rotate mine. Not a good way to be rotating your food. So I changed that up. And if you go to the next one, I changed that up and didn't start putting goodies in. I started putting MREs in. And then I didn't have to worry about rodents and I didn't have to worry about rotating it. This is just a quick, I took my backpack apart. Up in the left-hand corner, I am big into fire making. If you ever watch Survivor, there's 3 things that they need. They need water, they need fire, and they need shelter. And I love learning how to build fires. I have equipped everything that I need to build a fire in there. I have fire sticks. I have a pill container that has got matches in it to waterproof. I have a flint stick. I have a knife for the flint stick. I have cotton. I have steel wool. These are really good fire starters. And I strongly recommend that you, with your family, learn how to make a fire. And I did a amazing race for my 16-year-old grandson. And one of the challenges was for them to build a fire and maintain it for 3 minutes. And that ended up being their favorite thing of the whole amazing race, was being able to learn how to do a fire. Do this as a family home evening. It's good to get your kids involved. I have a mirror, a reflecting mirror. If you ever have to shine for help or whatever, toilet paper, an hour, 100-hour candle there, flashlight, batteries. That water jug up there is not just a water jug, but it actually purifies water for you. It's amazing. Next page, please. I have a utility knife in there that has screwdrivers and all kinds of stuff in there. The kids love that. Ponchos, emergency radios, emergency blankets, hotties to warm your hands, whistle, compass. You need a whistle because if you ever get separated from your family, those kids can blow and you guys can find each other. I have a mess kit. That mess kit is awesome it's got a handle in it. Put it over the fire. You can heat food. It's awesome. You can see my MREs in there. I actually have some food in there that go through Costco, go through Walmart. Look for things that are flat and don't weigh so much that you can put in. You've got tuna in an envelope. Next page, please. I have in there, you've got first aid, you've got your personal items, you've got your masks, you've got gloves, you've got, there's a guy that I learned, I've got his book, I'll give you the information. It is amazing. He said, don't even go for a hike without garbage bags. Those garbage bags can be used as a poncho. It can be used as a shelter. It can be used as a blanket. Stuff it with leaves, whatever, you know. So I always put a ton of garbage bags in there. I've got needles. I've got thread if I have to sew somebody up. Now I've gone a little farther. You're going to see in there that I've actually got fishing hooks, fishing line. I've got aluminum foil as bait because the fish are very attracted to shiny things. I actually have wire and safety pins to make a snare if you're going to catch a small rodent. I know I've gone over the edge, and you don't have to do this, but I am big into survival. And if you're up in the mountains, you know, you got to do it, you got to do it. I got light sticks there. Next one, please. I have a second backpack that is in addition to the other one. And what's in this one is a change of clothes. I've got a hat to wear because at nighttime, if your feet are warm and your head is warm, you're going to be warmer. I've got socks in there. I've got aluminum foil. Aluminum foil can be used for so many things. And of course, a whoopee cushion. You got to add some laughter to everything. And if you got kids, that helps. The next page, I have a tent. It's a tent. You don't need to buy one of these. And I've got rope in there. If you go and get that plastic in the painter's place, you can make a tent right there. You know, tie a rope between two trees, put your tarp over, you've got shelter. I have a book, an SASA book. It's a survival book. It teaches you what plants you can eat, what plants you can't eat that you shouldn't eat. I've got entertainment in there because during this stressful time, you've got to be able to entertain yourself or your children. When my kids were little, I had all kinds of fun things in there. I had little candy in there. I had, my son loved dinosaurs. I had plastic dinosaurs in there. Anything that's going to entertain a child, you know, you want to put in there because this is a stressful time. And even as adults, I got a deck of cards. I mean, let's sit down, let's play some cards. It's good. People need that mental break. Now, this stuff adds up. I mean, you start adding up the water, you start adding up the backpacks. What I did for my parents, and unfortunately this didn't get on the screen, but I'm going to put it at the camera. I know it's not the best thing, but I actually bought, let's go this way. I actually bought a shopping cart with wheels. And that is for my parents. And really, actually, it's for me now because I can't carry these things around anymore. It's too heavy for me. So throw it in the shopping cart, your water, your backpacks, everything, and you can tote it behind you. Always keep a half a tank of gas in your car. If you ever get the word that you got to go, getting gas is going to be pretty difficult, and you want to be able to go and get out there. Now, my parents used to live in Paradise, and a lot of their friends, they lost friends up there. In fact, probably all of their friends up there lost their homes and businesses. But a lot of them, when they were leaving, were able to grab their 72-hour kits, their water, out the door they went, and they had something to take care of themselves for at least 3 days. And it used to be, have stuff to take care of you for 3 days. It isn't 3 days anymore, it's a week. There is no way the government can come in to help a situation and help its people in that short amount of time. So you need to be able to take care of your family for a week. Be prepared mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Sometimes an emergency happens and you got to know what you're going to do. You got to know how to handle it. Sheri and I, during one of our emergency preparedness fair, a gentleman had choked on a hot dog. And we had a retired Coast Guard gentleman working on him, giving him the Heimlich, and he was working on him for quite a while. He finally got that hot dog up, but our gentleman was turning blue, and being that Sheri and I were in charge, I had to get my head together and say, okay, how do I handle this? What do I do? Who do I call? And I remember kicking off my shoes and I started running. Calling 911, meeting the fire department, explaining what's going on. And my grandkids actually brought that up and said, I remember that, Nana. I remember you kicking off your shoes and running. And they did remind me that it took a while for me to find my shoes. But a lot of these people thought this was part of our emergency preparedness fair. They thought it was a demonstration. It was not. It was the real deal. And I'm not kidding you. There was some panic in me as to making sure I handled this right, because there was a life that was in danger. And I was going to be a part of taking care of this situation. Know how to take care of first aid. Know how to do the Heimlich. A brief thing. My son, my mom was watching my son, and my friend was out with him, and he was draped over the tricycle. And my friend, who was handicapped, knew that there was a problem, ran in and got my mother, and she came out, grabbed him around the waist, and ran to call 911. In that process, she was doing the Heimlich and didn't even know it, and out came some hard candy. Know your first aid. Know how to take care of a bleed. Know how to take care of a breathing problem. In your backpacks, I forgot to say, please make sure you have your medicines. Please make sure you have stuff for your pets. They need food. They need water. Make sure that they're taken care of also. I'm getting down to my 17 seconds here. Is there any questions out there? Does anybody have any questions that they would like answered? Again, we can send this stuff to you via your email if you let us know. Is there any questions? No questions. Jonathan will answer that. There's some kind of a form that you're supposed to be filling out with that information, and the stake will let us know who would like this information. And Sheri and I are gathering a whole file folder broken down, 72-hour kits, water purification, food storage. We will have that all for you.
Quizzes also.
Quizzes, things to do with children. Get your kids involved with this. Get them excited. Get them to learn how to build a fire. Oh, I forgot to tell you, Sheri gave you some excellent ideas for cooking. Our Cub Scouts, what we did is we did a solar oven. And you can do a solar oven with a box, aluminum foil, and plastic wrap. And all of our boys love making this. And during the Emergency Preparedness Fair, they cooked pizza, pizza pockets. I mean, it works really well. The kids loved putting it together. My grandkids loved putting them together. Get them involved. This is not something that is going to go away, and it's going to be even worse probably for our children, our grandchildren. And there's always going to be a disaster of some kind, whether it's fire or earthquake or you lose a job. You know, I know that you dig into your, Hey, whoopee cushion. That is a necessity in my backpack because it's definitely guaranteed lasts. And yes, you can get it at Walmart or any novelty store. But get those kids involved. I'm putting one together right now for my 7-year-old grandson. He's the only one that doesn't have one. And I'm buying certain things, and I'm waiting till I get back to South Carolina so he can help me buy these things, organize his backpack, put his name on everything. Everything. What do you cook on? Remember I'm having a brain.
Oh, me too.
Whatever.
The camping kit. Oh.
Yes, it's the kit that you can cook in. It's awesome. It's got a handle. You can boil water, cook your food. It's awesome. So he's going to be a part of this with me. I'm going to go with each grandkid. We're going to go through their backpacks, update them, find out what they want in them, what's missing. And the kids get excited, especially when they see a mess kit. There we go. Thank you. See, you can tell we're old. But I want them excited, and they're excited to sit down with me and go through it and update and find out what they want in there that maybe isn't in there right now. Again, my list, you don't need all of those things in your backpack. You can pick and choose. I kind of go over the edge a little bit because I am heavy into, drop me in the forest and see if I can survive, which I don't know if I can now, but I used to be able to. But you don't need everything on the list. The list is long. Just get what you want in there and start. Did I mention that buy a kit? Okay, I'm sorry. I've done them from scratch. I bought kits from organizations. I strongly suggest you buy a starter kit from these Are You Prepared places and build upon it, because it can get costly if you start from scratch. Get a couple for you and your spouse, and then for your children, create backpacks for them and only buy the things that you need to put in there. But that is cost effective, and definitely, like Sheri said, rotate, recycle. I mean, just rotate. That's huge. I've wasted a lot of money in not doing that.
And this is a family thing, like Rene said. You get your children involved. They feel more secure when they've had a chance to be a part of it and to learn these things.
Oh, and we did forget something very, 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 very important. Have a meeting place that your family, if you're in four corners of Antioch, whatever, you got a meeting place that no matter where they are, they know where to get together with you as parents and family. Also, have a list of phone numbers in your backpack. Have a phone number from someone out of state. So you can call that person out of state and say, hey, I'm okay. I've got so-and-so and so with me. No worries. But have a meeting place. For me and my children, it was the church. So, because everybody knows where the church is. So that's it. Does anybody else have anything they would like to ask?
I think we're out of time.
Yep. Well,
hope you learned something.
We talked fast. Thank you for being with us. Know you got to be prepared for just about anything, and it isn't going to get better, guys. See you later. Bye.